We are here presenting the SolaBulb at IBC. It's I think, very interesting proposition because until now we have been doing bulbs that were either looking like a traditional bulb, like in the case of LuminaBulb, or they were being a powerful practical that you're going to put inside of a shade. But we thought that we could go a step farther and do a bulb that can do other things. So the first thing to say, because I think this is mainly SolaBulb, is three things. The first thing is that it is a bulb, and therefore you can use it in E26, E27, or B22 sockets. So basically, wherever you have a bulb socket, you can use a SolaBulb. The other thing to say is that you can use it as a downlight. So in this case, I'm gonna work it out with the PowerStation, which is a standard battery that you can use for NYX bulb as well. And in the moment that you mount it in, you have the possibility of not only going AC, but using the DC connector that you have here directly on the housing. And then you can use this cable here to connect into the DC. And in that moment, it just switches on. So you have now a battery powered tool where you can mount any kind of clamp directly in, or you can just use it for prepping, because of course now you have here a display, right? So you can use this display the way you want, as it will be any other light, you know, in a very simple way, change whatever you need and so on, right? Very simple. And many people see it as a downlight, right? So imagine in film applications, you can use it as a fake ceiling, hide the bulb inside of the ceiling and so on, but also for events where you want a table lamp or a desk lamp or a catering, all these scenarios where you need to hide lights. Now it's easy and affordable because basically whatever you have a bulb socket, you can put a cord and it's easy. The last thing, and probably the most impressive one for everyone going to see it here, is that you have a fully functional Fresnel inside of a bulb. So this is as high quality, high performance Fresnel as you have it on the big QuikPunch or QuikSpot from Astera, exactly the same quality with a Titan engine inside. So basically you have red, green, blue, plus mint, plus amber, TLC IR96, very high quality. But of course you can do this, right? And this changes everything because suddenly you have more control than ever on a bulb. You have the same beam distribution that you will have on a general Fresnel, a zoom that goes from the 15 degrees, 15 to 50 degrees, 50. So you have a lot of different possibilities with a click in the center just to know that you are in the mid-range, so 30 degrees beam angle. And of course this gives you a lot of speed to your workflows, right? Because you can go directly and make it easier. The other cool thing is that this is not isolated, this is part of an ecosystem. So actually the three bulbs that you can see here, they can be combined together. They all have the three versions, and now you have more control than ever on the SolaBulb, but then you have the power of a 60-watt tungsten bulb with the NYX, as always, as a practical, and also you have the LuminaBulb that is literally the same size of a traditional 100-year-old bulb. And then you can remove this part, play with different accessories and so on. The combination of the three makes an ecosystem not only versatile, but also more controllable than ever, because all the three have wireless DMX. These are the only three bulbs in the market that use wireless DMX. It's embedded, it's inbuilt into the fixture, so actually you don't need to use any extra accessories, no transmitters or anything. You can go directly from your console to the bulbs, and if you don't want to use wireless DMX, then you still have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, radio frequency through the Astera box, and an IR remote that you can use, you know, that's as simple as that, with infrared, and control whatever you want. In the beginning, when we were working with it, of course, since we are putting a complex optical system into the bulb, the obvious target should be high tier, high level filming and so on. This was the idea at the beginning. But we suddenly realized, after asking a lot of feedback to the users and so on, that when you can really get creative with this bulb is when you have a lot of them. And then immediately came to our minds, well, if you have a Fresnel with the zoom capability in a bulb, this means that pretty much everyone in the filmmaking world, from the entry-level prosumer type of market to mid-size, TV, etc., could benefit from it. And then we went a step farther. Well, if you use this into events, you know, dinners, weddings, all these environments, they will be even more interesting. But for that, you need to make it appealing, you need to make it attractive in terms of price. That's why we left the price around, in euro, around 150, 160 euro list price. So it's very affordable. You can have a kit of 8 with a PowerStation for about 1,200. So it's quite affordable, and you make this effort because at the end, bringing innovation that is not accessible, bringing innovation that no one can afford, doesn't make a lot of sense. Of course, Astera is known because of being the battery-driven manufacturer, right? All our products has batteries and so on, except these 3 bulbs. And the reason why we don't use the battery, there are mainly 2 reasons. First of all, because it's a practical, so you're gonna use it on all the time, right? You're gonna use a lot of them. Imagine maybe you're having a shooting 80 lamps, 200 lamps. If you will have a battery on each one of them, since this is a very small fixture, then you will need to charge them every half an hour or 1 hour because you don't have a space to mount it in. The other reason is that when you have a bulb like this, what you want is reliability. That's what you want. Because at the end, you're going to use it for years, and you don't want to stop for small details on your shoot, you know. You can do it with the big fixture, okay, you can troubleshoot, but with small ones, that's very annoying. So if you really go for a battery inside, there's more heat, it's more difficult to do the thermal management, and therefore you need to mount a fan inside. That's what all the manufacturers do. You have a fan, you have a moving part, it's not going to be reliable, it's going to break, and that is completely against the philosophy of Astera, because all the products that we design are designed to be a minimum of 8 years in the market as a sellable item, and to work in as a functional product for 15, 20 years. There are mainly 2 accessories. Only one is coming from Astera, which is the SolaSnoot, which is what I have here, right? Very simple idea. This is just coming in the lid of the package when you buy the SolaBulb kit. And the idea is very simple. You just add it here. As you can see, it has a couple of slots, so you just mount it in. And it helps to do 2 things. First, if you're gonna hide the bulb, which is what most filmmakers will try to do, so you don't see the light, you see the effect, then it gives this architectural downlight look, you know, because it's easy to hide this part and hide the whole thing. The other purpose is that you increase a little bit the contrast, especially if you want a very contrast look, or if you are using haze and you want to enhance more the effect of the haze. But it's also an anti-glare shield, so the people don't get blinded by it. So this is one accessory, very simple, and it doesn't weight, which is a big advantage in a bulb because you don't want something that is heavy. The other one is this one, which is not made by Astera. This is actually one of the surprises that we have here at IBC, because the people don't know yet about it, which is a band door for SolaBulb. This is called SolaDoors, and it's made by a company called LR. And what is cool about this band door is that you can basically super lightweight, and you can basically slide it in, you press it in, right? And now you have a band door. And because it's a fully functional Fresnel, that it has a very good cut, actually, the same as you will do it in a regular Fresnel. Yeah. So it's adding another interesting tool, especially for those who don't want to use it just as a downlight, but as a backlight Fresnel, something small, not too punchy, but punchy enough so you can use it on camera. In the case of the NYX bulb, we have a white version and we have a black version. So it kind of makes sense to go for a white version. But we are gathering feedback there, because it's also true that most of the feedback that we got is about people saying, hey, I probably want to see the flare, so I want to see this that you can see on camera, right? So you see the Fresnel working like this, but I might not want to see the bulb itself. If that's the case, then the color doesn't matter, of course. But if for those people who want to show the bulb, which is also the feedback that we got a lot today, that I like this more industrial look of it, then it would make sense to go white. It's also true that a lot of people is asking for museum lighting. Can I mount it on a museum or exhibitions and things like this? Because now you have wireless DMX on a museum. That's interesting. And in those type of scenarios, probably the white will be a good reason. So good feedback. Let's see if more people is demanding it. What is unique is, first of all, that you have the wireless DMX. So you cannot find any other bulb in the market that has wireless DMX inbuilt. The other thing that is quite unique is that you have the exact same light engine that you have in the Astera tubes or in Pluto or QuikPunch and so on. So that makes it very interesting, because you don't need to do color matching. So nowadays, what you normally do, you're using different lights from different manufacturers, and you are tied to the worst color engine that you have in your inventory, right? You need to make all the lights look like the worst light that you have. And then you can shoot in a way that the people don't see the different lights performing and so on. But with Astera, you don't have that problem. I think that makes the bulbs unique. That whatever light you are using first, you can match other lights with our engine because it's quite easy. You have the mint and the amber to do that. It's a very flexible engine. But the other good advantage is that if you're using just Astera, you don't need to worry about the colors. You need to worry about being creative with it, right? How to mount it, positions, and so on, but never about the color. I think that makes it quite unique. And then, of course, if you use the Astera app, there's a big advantage there, right? Even if you're using blackout, which is a very popular way of controlling lights nowadays in the filmmaking world, you know that if it's an Astera product, it's going to be integrated in blackout. So you're going to monitor batteries for other products directly in the blackout. You can patch them directly there. I think the mix of all those things make it very interesting. And the fact that you have 3 choices as a practical, it's also quite interesting.